Yo, what's going on, Arkansas Razorback fans? Welcome to Hogvillenet. I'm Ty Hudson, and alongside me for the very first time on Hogvillenet YouTube, by the way, Otis Kirk. How you doing, my man?
Doing good, doing good. Just been working nonstop, but other than that, it's going great.
Yeah, and I'm digging. I'm not gonna lie. I know some people don't like the wet, rainy weather, but I'm all about it because I'd prefer this over the typical, 90-degree weather we have this time in June. So I'm all about it, Otis. I don't know about you.
No, no, I like the hot, man. I'm used to it now, so I'm ready for it.
Yeah, well, fair enough.
I've got a bulldog trying to get on here with us.
Uh-oh. Yeah, my kids keep kind of peeking in the door. They're trying they want to get it.
Bulldog just moved the laptop and I had to put it back. I mean,
Well, again, welcome everybody. And if you haven't already, be sure you subscribe to the channel. Check out Otis Kirk's latest. It's all available there for you on hogville.net, along with, of course, we've got Dudley Dawson covering baseball and Kevin McPherson, who's about to get busy with basketball as well. But we know Arkansas is going to be heading to North Carolina, so Dudley will have a fun little trip coming up this weekend. So, of course, we wish the Hogs the best there. Let's go ahead and start off with recruiting, Otis. Arkansas picked up its 12th commitment out of Florida. What can you tell us about Isaiah? How did you pronounce his last name?
Augustave.
What can you tell us about him?
He is a legit 6'2". I know the recruiting services, some of them have him listed at 6'1". He's 6'2". I met the kid. He is a big kid. If you're just looking at size, and I'm not talking about ability, I'm talking about size, he reminds you of an Eric Dickerson, Adrian Peterson, or Darian McFadden, a tall kid, the tall running back. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying he's good as any of those three. That's not what I'm saying. But height-wise, I mean, that's who he's built like when those kids were 18 years old. He had about 950 yards rushing last year, 16 touchdowns. He's got good speed. And, I asked him, I said, what do you feel like your strengths are? And he said, my downhill running, I don't juke a lot. So he likes to just go straight line. He's got good speed. And but he's a good pickup for Arkansas. They'll probably take two running backs in this class. They've got some others visiting here in June. And, two or three, well, three others I know of right now are visiting off the top of my head are visiting in June. We'll see how many they take. But he's a nice pickup. This is his first and only visit, by the way.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
He's shutting it down after this one.
Oh, well, that's a good sign then, because we got a long ways to go in this recruiting cycle. So that's always good to hear. And you say sounds like he's a good north-south runner, not really a guy that's going to try to juke you out of your
right. He gets yard. He does like a Raheem Sanders kind of, Rocket Sanders. He likes to rush forward, positive yards, not going to be dancing backfield and getting thrown for a loss. He likes to get yardage and go at it, and he's a tall kid. We'll see how he does, but I think it was a good pickup for Arkansas. I mean, he's a consensus 3-star everywhere, but he would have probably had more yards last year. He played for a team that went 10-1, and they shut it down at halftime in some of the games. They had a really good team, blew some teams out, so he wasn't obviously getting the ball all 4 quarters of a lot of those games. He had 6 games over. They played 11. He had 6 games over 100 yards or more rushing.
Wow. And he plays now. What division in Florida? Is it pretty high?
Yeah, it's a pretty high division down there in Florida. That's a big division down there in Naples. So he plays good competition. And his coach came on the visit with him, by the way.
Oh,
Coach Rick Martin, I believe is his name. Rick Martin.
Okay.
Ricky Martin. I'm pretty sure that's his name. It's Coach Ricky Martin. I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
So we'll stick with recruiting then. Luke Haas, the 4-star tight end, he's going on an OV to Michigan. Now, I'm pretty sure that's all but it's basically confirmed, but he's going on the 10th. Do you think Arkansas fans should be concerned at all, or is this just a kid taking another visit because he has the opportunity to take a visit?
Well, no, I think anytime they take other visits, I think there's something to be concerned about. He shut his recruiting down supposedly, and then all of a sudden he's taking visits, and I've noticed he hasn't been quite as active on Twitter seemingly with the Razorbacks as he was. Razorbacks offered his brother, and I doubt Michigan does that. They might, but I don't think they will. But Yeah, I think anytime a kid, I mean, he was committed to OU and he flipped to Arkansas. So he's already been committed somewhere and flipped once. So there's always a possibility he could do it again. We'll just have to see how that plays out. He's got a lot of ties to Arkansas. Well, I mean, we'll see. I'd be surprised if he went to Michigan, but if he signed there, I mean, that's a long ways from home, but we'll see how it works out. And like I said, I know it's important for him to play with his brother, and I know Arkansas has offered his brother. Right now, Michigan has not, that I'm aware of, offered Dylan anyway.
Well, he's tight end. He was the first tight end commit, if I recall, in this class, but there's 3 right now. Right, yeah. You've got Shamar Easter out of Ashdown, and you've got Jaden Ham out of somewhere out of Kansas.
Eudora, Kansas.
Do you think that might kind of have an impact on these kids? If you know, I mean, it's not real common to take that many tight ends in a single class. Do you think that might possibly be kind of playing into this a little bit? I mean, obviously we don't know for a fact, but I'm sure that's something we've heard before.
Yeah, it could. I think Jaden Ham was one most people worried about. If there was a third one that dropped off, first they would think it'd be more Ham. I don't think Haas would be scared of the competition or Easter. I don't think Ham is. I do know one year there was 3. Arkansas took 3 the year they took Austin Cantrell, Will Gregg, and Cheyenne O'Grady. So 3 has been done in one class, not that long ago, not recently, but not that long ago either. They did take 3 in that class, and all 3 ended up playing some. Yeah. Haas, I don't think that would have a bearing. I don't think that's why he would visit, because he's going to play if there's 1 tight end in the class, or if there's 10 tight ends in the class, he's going to play. So I don't think that would have much of a bearing.
He's a special talent. All 3 of these tight ends are good, but
they are.
Haas does stand out quite a bit, and I think we're starting to see them rebuild that tight end position, which is obviously a really good sign. So the final recruiting question. Is Arkansas? I know we got some visits planned this month. Do you see a possibility of any commits for the 2023 class in this month of June?
I think Arkansas, they're at 12 right now. I think they could be 20 by the end of this month. I know that's a bunch, but honestly, it would not surprise me if they're sitting at 20 by the end of this month.
Wow.
Because now you don't have to worry about the 25. You don't have that hanging over your head. So Arkansas can go up. That may be a little optimistic or out or off as far as 20, but I'm just saying it would not surprise me. I mean, I could sit there and look at the list and probably give you 8 names as a possibility. It wouldn't be necessarily them committed, but it would not surprise me if they had up to 20 kids at the end of June. This is going to be a busy month for me and everybody that works recruiting and the fans, and they're wanting recruiting information in football. They're going to get plenty of it this month.
That's usually how it goes, right? I mean, the month of June is just wild. It's every year.
It is, and not just the visits, but you've got the camps too.
Yeah.
I mean, there's not as many commitments comes out of those camps in the 23 class as they used to, but there could be one. But they could get a younger player committed too than one of the other classes. I mean, they're still recruiting for 24, 25, and 26 as well. So, you know, I mean, it never stops, and it's a never-ending process, man. It really is.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's good that it keeps everybody busy, but at the same time, I seem to remember talking to you last summer, and you were like, "I'm kind of ready for this to slow down just a little bit."
Oh yeah, you're always ready for it too, a little bit. I mean, just working till 1 or 2 in the morning, getting up at 6:30 again. It gets old. That's my weekly schedule so far this week. It's been about 3 to 4 hours sleep a night, and I mean, I could always stand an earlier night.
Yeah, fair enough. I'd
be bored if it was though, so I'd be bored. So I mean, I sat there and think about it, but I'd be bored. So it's working out fine.
Yeah. Well, that's it for the recruiting questions. We'll go to the on-campus questions. What's coming up for the Razorbacks in the month of June? Just talking about the guys, obviously, that are here. We've got camps coming up. Just kind of give us the summer timeline for Sam Pittman and his guys.
Well, it's summer the summer workouts and conditioning, and they're really going to work them hard. And there'll be a lot of throwing and catching with the kids, but they're also going to be with the strength coach, getting a lot of work in, getting in shape for the football season. So when they report in August, I think it's August the 4th, I believe is the date they report. I know the first game is September the 3rd. I believe they report in August the 4th, but they do report in August, early August, obviously. And it's going to be, they want the kids to be in shape by then, and they will be. I mean, they stay on campus now this summer. Used to, you'd have that reporting date, and here'd be kids coming from all over the country. Most of them haven't been seen all summer, by the coaches. And they do that conditioning run. About 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 would fail. They don't have to do that anymore because they got the kids all summer. They know what they know what the kids' shape is going to be when they report in August.
We got to hear from Sam Pittman, and I haven't had a chance to completely finish that video. That actually just he talked with him, I think, yesterday afternoon.
Yeah, it was 2:00 yesterday.
So I just haven't had a chance to sit down and finish it. But we did get some updates and a couple things that stood out. The first thing being that the Torrin Carter update sounds like they're pretty optimistic about everybody participating leading up to fall camp. But Torrin Carter is someone where there's still a big question mark hanging over his head in terms of his availability coming off his surgery.
Yeah, I was the one that asked that question, and I've been told, Sam answered it. He didn't go on the record saying what I had heard, but I have been told by somebody pretty close to the program that he's out for about 9 months. So he's not going to, they don't think he's going to be available this season. Now, they told me the same thing that Sam Pittman said yesterday. If anyone can do it, it'll be him. But considering his injury, I don't think he's going to be out there this fall. I'm just telling you what a source told me that knows the situation and had told me that he thinks it's a 9-month deal. And that would be from when he had the surgery. So that would be in late April, early May. And you take 9 months there, that gets you to about January or February, Even if he came back a month early, which would be, if you're projected 9 months and you come back in 8, that still puts you at the end of the football season. You're still looking at New Year's. So, I'm expecting that Carter won't be out there this year. And if he is, it's going to be a bonus. And he's a real fast healer. And that can happen. I know when I broke my ankle on both sides here about 4 or 5 years ago, they told me how many months it'd be, and I walked out of the doctor's office about 2 months ahead of time without crutches or anything. And I'm old, but I'm a fast healer. And the doctor nearly fell over when I went in there and walked out without crutches or no pain or anything. In two and a half months ahead of time.
Well, and that's good to hear. That's good to hear.
It can happen if he's a fast healer, and like I said, I was. And, if Carter is, then so be it. That's good. But it's still, I don't see a scenario, Tyler, where he plays the first of the season, because you're talking about what we talking July, August, September, 3 months, about 3 months till that first game, a little less now. For that first game, I don't see any way that he goes from a 9-month deal to be 4 months, considering the month he's already had. So,
right.
Going from 9 months to 4 months is pretty optimistic, I don't see that happening. Now 6, where you get back and play halfway through the season, possibly. But I'm skeptical. I'm just skeptical, very skeptical of the fact that I don't think he'll play this year. And that's just me saying that. Like I said, I tried to get Sam to go on the record yesterday, and he said all he could say on it, and it's my job as a reporter to ask that question. And Sam did what I would have done if I'm the coach. He didn't answer it directly. He gave me a scenario, and that's what I would do. I'm not knocking Sam. That's exactly, if I'm coaching, if I'm sitting in his seat and he's sitting in mine and he asked me that, I would have told him the same thing he told me. So, I get it,
So he's already used a red shirt. He's a red shirt junior this year. What does that mean for him, for the folks watching this at home? What does this mean? He's just going to lose this year and he'll be a fifth-year guy? Of course, we also have the COVID year to keep in mind.
Well, that's what I'm getting ready to say. You still got the COVID season. So he could technically right now, he has 3 seasons left. He could actually, if he misses all season, what he can do, Tyler, if he wants to. But since you got that COVID season anyway, he may not want to do this. But now he could apply to the NCAA for a hardship on injury hardship. Hey, Dorian Gerald's going to play his 7th year since high school. 7th year, get that. So it's possible that could happen. If he wanted to stay he's got 3 years right now, this year, next year, and the COVID year. If he wanted to, and he does not play, if he doesn't play this year, he could apply and possibly still have 3 after this. So, but that's something he's got to apply for. It probably would get approved, but there's no guarantee on that, Tyler. There's not it's not a written rule that they have to do that. I mean, Sam said he was surprised they approved Dorian Gerald's 7th year. He said that, he said he was surprised. We all were. I saw that somebody messaged me and said he's coming back, and I'm looking at like, what the heck? I mean, he's going to have grandkids before and still be playing for the University of Arkansas. I mean, he'll have grandkids out there saying, "Grandpa, you made a tackle."
I was going to say he's going to be by the time he graduates, or by the time he's done at Arkansas, he's going to be 34 with a mortgage.
So, my deal with Dorian Gerald is, I know I'm joking about that, but look, I'm just hoping the kid stays healthy. I'm hoping that in 10 years from now, I hope he doesn't have injuries and pain that from these injuries he's suffered through. Just have to live a life of pain and stuff, because I worry about with that many injuries, man. It's dangerous for your long term. I know a hard-headed guy that played softball until he was, real old, and doctors warned him that he was going to have pain later on, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to call any names, but I know exactly what he's talking about. I was that clown that kept playing, and those fears of the doctors are legit. I mean, you can have a lot of pain later on, and you abuse your body, and I'm not saying he abused his body, but those injuries are abusing it, but Dorian's young. He wants to give it another try. And, he's got that competitive fire where he wants to show what, everybody, I don't think nobody has questioned Dorian's talent. Nobody's ever said, oh, he stinks, he should go home. That's not the case. It's just, he's been hurt and he can't show. When he plays, he looks pretty good.
No, number one JUCO defensive end out of that class, if I remember right. Number 2.
Yeah, now here's what we got to look at now. Have they over-recruited? Have they recruited over him? And what I mean by that, they've recruited guys like Jordan Dominic, Landon Jackson, Zach Williams, Jashad Stewart, people like that. You just wonder, is there going to be minutes for him? We're going to see. And spot playing and stuff might be the best solution for him. Not have to play 40, 50 snaps a game, and if he does, that's fine. And there'll be injuries to those guys too. But hopefully he has a good season, whether he starts, plays, whatever. Well, he's going to play some, but no matter what, I hope Dorian has a good season, because he wants this, he wants it. And that's a competitive nature in him. And when you see so many people just saying, oh, I'm quitting, when it doesn't go their way and he's not doing that, you've got to admire the guy. You hope that those injuries aren't long term for us when he gets older, but you do admire the fact that this is something he wants, and if it's something he wants, you want him to go for it, and hopefully he's successful at it.
Yeah, and I again, like you said, no one's really doubting his talent, and
that was never the issue.
We kind of joke about it a little bit, but we're absolutely rooting for him to have success. Because obviously, if he's successful, they're gonna.
I'm sorry, Tyler. Go ahead. But I just said, Tyler, talent, blah, blah. I can't talk. Talent was never the issue, man.
Yeah, for sure. Well, speaking of, so we'll kind of stick with the with going in lines of scholarship distribution and kind of being shocked about him coming back. Dorian Gerald, Coach Pittman was asked about their scholarship distribution and just kind of the situation there. Everyone assumed, Otis, you and I both talked about this, that they were either over or right at, and it turns out they're actually, according to Sam Pittman himself, they're one under the 85 limit, or what is soon to be the 85 limit, and that's after the JUCO defensive tackle Taylor Lewis committing. So what do you make of that?
I asked Sam about that. I said, how are you at he said, because I had him at 85. I ran a story on Hogville few weeks ago. I listed the 85 players, each position, and I had 85. And I said, to me, Dorian Gerald would have made 86 unless someone quit. And I asked Sam, has someone quit since the end of spring ball? Basically since I ran that article. And he said, no. He said he threw 2 back. And I'm going to tell you, I'm going to be honest with you, Tyler. They say, don't get on here and say you don't know. But I'm telling you, nobody knows what the heck he's talking about. When he said he threw 2 back, he had 2 he could throw back. Hell, nobody knows what he's talking about. I mean, we all had him with 85 scholarships. Dorian Gerald would have made 86. He says he's at 84 with Dorian, but the throwing back part, 2 of them. I understand the counting in classes when they were like they borrowed 3 from 2021 to go to 2022 or something. I understand that. I don't know what the throwing back does, and I've talked to other reporters, and none of us knew what he was talking about. But hey, he's got the pen. My favorite professor in college always said, "I've got the chalk." He'd sit up there at the board, and it was his classroom, and he made sure you knew that. He'd say, "I've got the chalk." Well, Sam's got the chalk. He can put that up there. He knows what he's talking about. It doesn't matter if Otis Kirk or some reporter knows what he's talking about. He knows, and he's obviously got that. He knows what he's got. He says 84. Somehow he got to 84, so we'll see how it goes. But that's good. I know people make a big deal about them having another scholarship. What they've got to understand, Tyler, they've already Taylor Lewis was the final piece of the 2022 class. Mm-hmm. That 85 for 85 doesn't go into effect till the class they're on now.
Yeah.
Now, where it could come in handy, where that 85th one could come in handy, is if, let's say, he wants to give John Hill a walk-on defensive lineman from Dumas. He wants to give him a scholarship since he's been there over a year now, or been there a year. He can do that, and it only counts against the 85. It doesn't count against 25. It doesn't have to be John Hill. It could be somebody else. So technically, he could give that scholarship to a walk-on. And the reason I bring up John Hill, I've heard that's a possibility that John Hill, defensive lineman who was outstanding in the spring, not the spring game, but that scrimmage they had, whatever that was, open scrimmage, closed scrimmage in the building, a little bit of everything. But John Hill played well that day, and he's a good ball player. He's a defensive lineman. In fact, there was some talk about him on Hogville on the recruiting board about they were impressed with him, and he was good at Dumas, but he's about 6'5", probably 240, 250. They want him to gain some more weight. I do know that, but they could give that scholarship to someone like that. Now, that would be a possibility, but as far as going out and signing another kid in the 2022 class, that's not going to happen. They don't have the scholarship to do it.
Yeah. I was going to say, I don't think they could. I don't know how they do that. I don't know how they make that possible. In the 84 from Sam took me by surprise. When someone tagged me on somewhere, social media or something. It was like, how is this possible? I have no idea.
We don't know. He threw 2 back. Just tell me he threw 2 back. When I hear somebody say they threw 2 back, I think of me throwing back Diet Dr. Peppers or somebody down at the bar throwing back 2 beers, I mean, you throw back a couple of buds, I don't know. I'm not going to say and act like I know what he's talking about. I don't. Sure. And I talked to other reporters who had no clue what he was talking about. And I didn't want to sit there and ask him, what is throwback? And, but anyway, it's an 84, but it's not as big a deal as a lot of fans may think because they cannot go out and sign another player in the class of 2022.
Yeah. Well, that's it, guys. Otis, thanks for joining me, man. I know you got to publish an article here in just a minute
at noon. But we will have a story on the running back, Tyler, the running back from Florida who committed last night.
So you guys, you heard it here. That article will be, by the time you're watching this, you'll have it up there on Hogville. Completely free content, and it's premium quality content. I'm trying to combine the words over there. But you go over there, check it out, check out the website, and, of course, you can follow everybody. All the links are provided for you down below in the what used to be known as the description box, but the little arrow. You can find Otis, myself, Dudley, Kevin McPherson on Twitter, and a Hogville link provided for you as well. All right. Well, Otis, thanks again for your time.
Oh, appreciate you, man.
And you guys watching, make sure you subscribe and like the video. Woo pig.